Hey guys, I'm Aaron, and today I want to give you a 10-minute introduction to SketchUp for desktop. So we'll start from nothing, no previous information needed, just going to get in there and help you to level up your SketchUp skills. If you've been around here a while and you've already gone through the basics, then you know what I'm going to say, which is watch, like, and subscribe this video regardless. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to say that. Well, I did. I can't unsay it. But if you do have 10 minutes, watch it and see if you pick up something new. And by all means, if I leave something out of this 10 minutes, please let me know about that too, because I don't want to shortchange anybody. Having said that, I'm going to be watching the timer over here. We're starting at about a minute in, so I'm going to go for 10 minutes and tell you everything I think a beginner of SketchUp should need. So like I said, we are in SketchUp for desktop, and the first thing I always want to point out is UI. There's no point in searching for stuff when you're new to SketchUp. Get your large tool set turned on. That's in your tool palettes. You'll be able to turn this on. This has all the basic commands on it. Sometimes they're in the other the toolbars, the top or the floating toolbar, something like that. But the large tool set has everything you need to get started. I do have, they're collapsed right now, but a bunch of my windows open over here. I might refer to those a little bit. One thing I do recommend for new users to do is open the instructor panel. So whether you're on Windows and this is in your tab bar on the side, or you're on Mac and you have this floating window, get that instructor open and just kind of nest it over here to the right. Don't cover up your measurements box, but just put it over here. That is a big help when you start into grabbing a tool. Whatever tool you're using right now, this is going to give you a synopsis of how it works. So I'm moving my mouse right now to move in 3D space. This is 3D space. There's a figure right here that is called a scale figure. That is a 1 person tall model. And right here is the origin where the green, red, and blue lines converge. So what I'm going to do before I do anything else, we're going to draw something. So I'm going to come up here to the large tool set and I'm going to click on the pencil. The pencil is going to give you a pencil, and the pencil lets you draw. That's how simple SketchUp is. Just keep it easy. So I'm going to click right here in between the green and red lines. I'm just going to click once. Just click my left mouse button once. I get a little line that's connected to it. Now as I move my line around, you can see it stays connected. And if I go on the ground over here and start moving around, oh, see how it turned green right there? That green means that this line is parallel to the green axis. So I'm just going to draw it out a little bit. I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to come this, so I just drew a line. Now I'm going to come this way on the red. As I come across on the red, one thing I want you to look at is the length in the lower right corner. So as I continue to move across this red axis, you see that that length is showing up there. Now, a lot of people, when they get into SketchUp, they want to draw something, they start moving this around real small, trying to get to, I want to get to 4 foot, and they do this, and that's silly. Don't do that. What you want to do is start moving your mouse so you're on axis, and then just type in what you want to put, what you want your final length to be. So I'm just going to type 4 foot. See, I didn't click in the bar down there. I didn't go into that field. I just started typing and I hit enter, and now that's a 4 foot line. If I move back over here, it's going to inference and tell me that's exactly 4 feet. All right, now what I want to do is I want to come back up the green axis. So I'm going to move around until I snap to green. And as I start to get down here, I want to snap a point that's just in line with this point right here. So as I come down green, it's all of a sudden going to go click. So SketchUp doesn't use like snapping points or endpoints. It infers where it thinks you want to draw. So by moving my mouse down here, it's automatically going to snap. It jumped to that point. And I know that that line, because of the dotted red line across here and the green line here, that that line is 90 degrees to the point I'm coming from, to my first point. I'm going to click there and draw that line. And then my last line is going to be right here to close this up. As soon as I do that, now I have a surface. So if I click on select, I can pick this surface, this face, or I can pick this edge. Face, edge. Everything in SketchUp is made of faces and edges. So this is 2D. I just drew a rectangle on the ground like I did like with a piece of chalk or something, but let's make it 3D. I'm going to come over on the tool palette and I'm going to pick push pull. I'm sorry, I know I got to go kind of quick. I'm already halfway through my time, so I'm not going to, you can find it. So this is push pull. This is going to let me pull it up to a specific height. Just like before with this little number down here, whoops. I can say, I can ballpark where I want it to go to. I can snap to a specific height, like Sri's height, or I could type in a dimension. So if I want to do 4 foot again, I could just type 4 foot, enter, and that'll snap to exactly 4 foot. One last thing I'm going to do with all of this. So right now, if I go to select, all these pieces are separate pieces. So if I was to do something like grab, let's grab move. If I pick move, and I hover over this face and I start to move it, I'm stretching this thing out all over, which is a helpful modeling tool for sure, but maybe I want that box to just stay a box. I'm going to tap the escape key. To do that, to keep this a thing, I'm going to select everything I just created, right click, and say make group. What that did was that put it all together. So this has a couple advantages. One is if I go back to move again and I click on here and I drag, I'm dragging that whole box around because I just made it all one piece. The other thing is if I was to come in here and let's say I drew a rectangle on the ground like this, and then I used push pull to pull it up like that, I can still come in here, grab this, and move it away from that. If I didn't have that, I'm going to undo a couple times, undo, we'll go back to select. So this is loose geometry. If I do that exact same thing again, if I come draw a rectangle on the ground, click right here, I'm going to push pull it up like this. Guess what? This geometry right now is stuck to the rest of this. So if I grab just that piece I drew and I try to move, I'm going to have some issues. So these kinds of issues. So it is very important to, when you get to that point, select and make a group. And if I want to ever edit the group, it's not a big deal. I just double click. Then I'm editing inside the group. Everything outside the group is grayed out, and I'm inside my individual group. All right, I'm going to click outside. So now we've got a 3D thing, right? So we have Sri's over here, my box is over here. Let's talk about moving in 3D. The easiest way to move through SketchUp, and the thing we always recommend, if at all possible, is to get a 3-button mouse. Now a 3-button mouse is a button that has, a mouse that has a left click, a right click, and then a wheel in between the two. It's kind of the standard for mice. If you press and hold that wheel down, which I'm going to do right now, you see your icon turns into a little orbit icon, and I'm spinning around in 3D space. What this does is when you first click, wherever your cursor is, that becomes the center of that rotation, and you're spinning around that point. If I want to zoom in or out, I want to look at Sri, I can move my cursor over Sri and roll that wheel up. And that's going to zoom me in, roll it down, and it's going to zoom me out. Now this might change depending on your computer settings. You may have inverse scroll wheel, or maybe I do, I don't know. But up and down is going to zoom in and out. Which one's which will depend on your hardware setup. The other thing I can do is I can hold down the Shift key while I hit the middle button, that scroll wheel, and I'll get a pan option. This lets me grab my whole model and slide it around. So it's important to remember, I'm not moving a camera. I don't have a camera connected to my cursor. What I'm doing is I'm actually physically grabbing the model and spinning it around. I'm not rotating items. This item is still the exact same orientation as it was to the red and green axis originally. Sri gets a little confusing because she's a special component that always faces the camera. But normal geometry stays exactly the way it is as you spin around in 3D space. So the other things to think about, we got a minute and a half left. So the other thing I want to talk about is these drawing tools. So if you look at the toolbar over here, you have a group right here, which is drawing tools. This is things like line. This is things like draw shapes. And then we have some modify tools, things like move, push, pull, rotate. Again, if I want to edit my box, I pick on it, double click. And the way SketchUp works is anytime I come over here, I'm going to draw a line right across the middle like this. That's not the middle, it's just over there. Now, what I just did was I took this face and broke it into two. So I could do something like this, push, pull, and pull that up like that. If I grab one of my tools like my rectangle tool like I did before, I could go click here to here, and then again, I could say, okay, now push, pull to push that in. And that is the basic fundamentals of what SketchUp is and how it works. Again, as you're drawing, as you switch tools, keep an eye over here on the instructor. It'll give you the basics of how those work. And that is my 10-minute intro to how SketchUp works. Now, this 10 minutes is meant to be whatever's smaller than a primer, whatever that very basic, a referral, a toe in the water. If you are interested in learning SketchUp, I recommend you go to learn.sketchup.com, what we call SketchUp Campus, and take the fundamentals course. It walks through step by step everything you need to know to start learning SketchUp. This was just kind of a high level of like I'm in SketchUp, what's here? And this should give you an idea of kind of how to move around. If you are an experienced SketchUpper and you want to leave a note down at the bottom about something else to learn next, or something I missed maybe, let me know. Leave that in the comments down below. If you are new to SketchUp, check out those fundamental courses, subscribe to our channel. We create lots of SketchUp videos. You'll be notified of them and you'll be up and running modeling SketchUp in no time. If you like that video, I said this before, but I'll say it now. If you like this video, click like down below. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe, because we create several videos a week and be notified all of them if you subscribe. Most importantly, though, do leave us a comment down below. What do you think of this kind of content? This is a special one for the new people. But one of the things we like to do here, if you are new, we do like to make videos that show your concerns, what are your thoughts, what are your needs. So if there's a tool you want us to dive deep on, if there's a specific modeling practice you want to see, or a thing you want to see created in model, let us know down in the comments. We like making these videos a lot. We like them even more when showing something you want to see. Thank you.